Why are you single right now? I was in an AE relationship, married for two, to my high school sweetheart. Exactly the same time last year, we got divorced because I found out he was cheating on me with my best friend. The best friend I had known longer than him. I was friends with since fourth grade. She was living with us to try to get back on her feet. Yeah, lol. So I lost my best friend and the man I had been with for 8 years within the same night. So I moved to another state, got an apartment by myself, and I'm now single and divorced, all by 26. Not really looking unless the right person comes along. It's pretty happy and peaceful now that they're both out of my life, though, honestly. You realize people's toxicity and flaws the most once you get space away from them. Can't believe her best friend would betray her like that. That's insane. Story 2. Social anxiety over decades changes you. Even if you finally deal with the symptoms, cause, medically, etc., the changes remain. Behavior patterns, instincts, interests, etc. No drive or interest to have a family anymore. And minimal socializing or not meeting new people. They also don't drink, which eliminates 70% of all social places or events or interactions around here. Even good looks, personality, etc. Don't matter if you barely even interact with people. And I'm not desperate, so I still have specific standards or likes and many things I dislike. Story 3. Got mistreated a few months ago. I'm gonna cool down for a while I recover. Talking to real people helps so much. There are no resources for men who get mistreated by their girlfriend. Screw that crap. Remember, to any man out there, you can say no too, and don't let the stigmas keep you there. If you don't want it, don't freaking have it. Still can't get things on because that witch took my intimacy away. Hitting me for not being able to get it up or for finishing too quickly when I'd say no. Feel emasculated. Don't think, well, who wouldn't want intimacy from their girlfriend, I guess. I should have been assertive. That's why I'm freaking single. I'm sorry, man. Story 4. Because my girlfriend of 4.5 years decided to steal my son's money he was saving from odd jobs throughout the summer for a new pair of Jordans that he wanted 6 days after I asked her to marry me on that platform of top thrill dragster at Cedar Point. I can forgive for what he's done to me, but I do not expect nor will I ask my children to forgive someone who stole from them, so I asked for the ring and threw her out. And wouldn't you know, she went straight to my so-called best friend's house and he let her move in. Shortly thereafter, he knocked her up at 40 years old, so they now have an adorable 5-month-old boy. And they hate each other. Karma's a witch. Story 5. My last attempt at a relationship was about 30 months ago. It signaled that I needed to get a lot of crap straight. Since then, I have purchased a home, gone to therapy for 15 months, closed up 4 storage units, a perpetual voodoo tied in with 3 generations of family. I've gone through the hero's journey. I'm nearly ready to close my resale business and finally take a chance at love again, with a dream that this one will be the one. I am ready. Best of luck to you, dude. Story 6. Why shouldn't I be single? Yeah, I get it. Being in a relationship is the default norm in our society. We have a biological predisposition to form relationships. It is a proxy for our success in life, and being single is equated with being a failure, i.e., you're so worthless nobody wants to be with you. But I don't give a flying crap about that. I've already married and reproduced and divorced. I'm financially independent. I don't need another person sucking up my time, space, money, and emotional energy. I don't need another person to entertain me and introduce drama into my life. Being single is awesome. I haven't yet met anyone I like well enough to put the effort into a relationship, considering that I live in a small Midwestern town where the primary athletic activity of women over 40 is to eat. I don't see that changing anytime in the future. Story 7. What I want is simple. I only want unlimited love and affection. I mean, in my past relationships, they could do that at first, but as the relationship starts getting longer, they start slowing down to the point where it seems as if I'm asking for too much. I'm a loving person, and I like to give people I love a lot of affection and to feel loved. The thing is, nobody can keep up with that, sadly. Also, lack of communication or understanding from the other side. So, I'm just lonely now. Story 8. Got dumped during the second lockdown, almost 2 years ago. I haven't really socialized since, but I tried sometimes. Hard to meet single women of my age, 26. I attracted some girls in the gym and the volleyball club, but I consider them way too young for me. They were not shy, though. But to be honest, considering the mess I'm in right now, I don't consider it fair to even think about putting myself in a relationship. I have a lot of work on myself to do to become a good partner, I think. Eventually I'll get there. Story 9. Because I love my life and I don't want to give up any part of it that makes me happy. Regardless of what people say, you always have to give things up in a relationship. You simply cannot continue to live like you're living now while also incorporating another human being at the level of closeness of a romantic relationship. When I was younger and didn't have as many hobbies, making that change was nice because it filled a void with someone. Now I have zero voids, and I'm not willing to create them in order to bring someone in. Yeah, that's the hardest part about being in a relationship when you're a busy person. Story 10. I honestly don't know. I'm almost 32 and I've never had a serious relationship. I think I'm funny and smart. I'm not the ugliest person out there. To be honest, it's not like I've never had opportunities, but I kind of turned them down because I didn't feel like it. Sometimes I'm all like, I'm gonna get on Tinder and meet with everyone I match with, but then it's either everyone annoys me or I don't feel like talking to anyone. I recently matched with a really interesting guy, but he kind of never replied after a whole day talking. Story 11. Because apparently I'm an easy person to like, but an incredibly difficult person to love. I get told I'm very attractive and have a brilliant personality quite often, but it doesn't help me in the slightest because I'm apparently too mentally ill to love. Anyways, I'm probably going to try to figure this life crap out for a few more years. Good times. Story 12. Ugly, fat, no license. Still live with my mom, the average Redditor. But realistically, I'm just not ready, physically or mentally. I have a lot to work on myself before I even consider anything of the sorts. I know I'm capable of going out and finding a girlfriend. I'm just not confident with myself or how I look. Losing weight would change this drastically. Sometimes when I look in the mirror a certain way, I can see myself looking actually decent. If I lost that weight, boom, I'd look so much better, which would really help with my confidence. So have you gone up and worked out, or are you just going to continue writing on Reddit? Story 13. I'm not good enough. Depression makes it worse. I'm trying to make it seem like being single is awesome, but sometimes I really just want someone too. Feeling unsuccessful as it is, having no one makes that feeling of ever being successful or anything worse. Thoughts and insecurities have me wanting to push people away in the end. Story 14. I'm not putting myself out there at the moment. Haven't done so since the pandemic started. Of course, I often feel lonely, but dating feels like a chore I'm just not up for at this point. I felt lonely while I was in a relationship before. Being with someone is not a remedy for that. I just want to be happy and content on my own. If I run into my potential soulmate tomorrow, I'll definitely be open to exploring the possibilities, but I'm definitely not going to install a dating app or start looking for someone right now. And since I haven't really felt a strong connection or attraction to anyone I met during the past 2 years, I think I can wait. Story 15. Because at this time, it is basically my life goal to babysit the featureless steel canister of Omega-class emotional baggage that was left with me 5 years ago. Keep it cool, dry, and away from loud noises. Nobody deserves to deal with that thing, but I'm the one sitting on it, so, hey, better one person than two people. Slightly crazed smile. If you unscrew the cap a little, you can roast marshmallows like 30 feet away. It's kinda cool. Story 16. Been going through a rough patch in life. I recently kicked a 15-year-long fixation. I quit all the bad stuff, and I'm slowly but surely getting back on my feet. I've decided not to date until I'm at 100% again. Gotta get my crap together first and learn how to live a happy and healthy life on my own. I think that trying to find fulfillment in another person can only go badly. And so I'm working on creating a good life for myself so that when things are finally going well, I can share it with another person. Story 17. Because what's the point? Families are just being made to belong to a certain group nowadays. Taking pics and showing that a girl is pregnant is like an Instagram trophy now. I myself don't want children. I can't stand them. Although I can act polite around them. Honestly, I've tried to find the right girl for me, but it's almost impossible, and with time on, I sense that all humans are all trying to reach something that isn't even necessary, and it's just easier to be alone. Also, I'm pretty much unable to feel such a chemical imbalance in my brain. What others might call love. To me, it doesn't have any real point if, in reality, there are only two things about finding a mate that are important. Reproducing and maybe the fact that it's just much cheaper to live together. Right now, I'm at a standstill with my life anyway. Who would want a stagnant guy who doesn't really care for anything if it doesn't fulfill a higher purpose? Sure, cuddling is nice, but then what? In this age, humans are getting stupider by the minute. The sex surge has seemingly made our brains pudding, but somehow people are closer still. And I'm left behind asking, why even bother? Story 18. I wasn't good at communicating. I couldn't tell my wife was depressed until it was too late to help. She had started seeing an ex by then, and I was too stubborn to pursue counseling. That was years ago. I haven't been able to date because there's simply no one in the market that meets my criteria or has the potential to. We're all desperately broken people looking for missing pieces in others. I'm comfortable in my life right now. I'm growing, I'm improving, I know my worth. Do I hate being alone? Sure, but I refuse to settle. Story 19. Single mom, 29, daughters, 3, 5. I have no time and feel no desire to share what I do have with someone else who can't just come hang out at my house. Tried twice, and they both fought with the idea that nothing's wrong if I meet your kid now. She won't know we're anything more than friends. My brother and I live together, and men seem to just hate it. And hate that I respect that my brother and I share a home together, and it's not just my rules 24/7. Can't respect my boundaries and can't respect my family's boundaries? Boy, bye. If someone is so desperately in love with me and enthusiastically motivated to work towards a future and being a family, then they simply will with very little hesitation and a lot of understanding. I'm ready to be the one who's not making all of the compromises. I'm ready to share, not cater. At least it helps me take out who's just super motivated to have intimacy with me and who actually likes the human me. Story 20. Because my fiancé of 5 years suddenly left me and I'm a broken shell of a human, trying desperately to keep himself entertained enough to not feel compelled to end it all, to avoid another sleepless night. I don't get how people even find dates anymore. Dating apps are cancer. Everyone works from home, including myself, and the only times I get to interact with humans are D&D nights once a week. I know that I need to put myself out there more. I just can't find reasons to. Story 21. It honestly feels like I just missed the stage in my development where you're meant to try out different relationships, see who and what you like, etc. As I was overweight, socially awkward. Now 12 years later and I'm still slightly overweight and not as socially awkward. In school, literally no one would have even considered me as an option. Now I'm in a slightly better place, as mentioned above, but I just feel left behind in so many ways. Standard retail jobs, a lot of my friends from school have moved on with life, married, kids, etc. Dating just feels like an impossible challenge for me right now and probably won't change anytime soon. Story 22. It wasn't really by choice, but more by happenstance. And honestly, the longer I'm single, the less I miss being in a relationship. It's been a little over 7 years since my last relationship ended. Although I think I am super awesome and I'm pretty socially active, so I meet a lot of people, no one has expressed an interest in that time. I've been interested in a handful of people and I've even made the first move, but no one has been interested back. It was depressing at first, but then it stopped bothering me so much. Yes, there are things I miss about being in a relationship, but the thought of a relationship becoming serious is a little nerve-wracking at this point. I'm turning 47 later this year. I have lived alone for 12 years and have grown to value my space. I dabbled in online dating, but didn't like the process. I'd rather meet someone organically. In April, I had a conversation with my male best friend who is also single. He's gay, but not out to his super religious or conservative parents. I asked him how he planned to find a serious relationship when his parents live right next door. He said he had kind of given up on that possibility. He said he's realized that he has all of the fulfillment that he would get from a relationship from other people in his life. After I thought about it, I realized I do too. The only thing missing is the physical aspect, but there's ways that can be satisfied as well. Story 23. I don't expose myself to others. I'm a fat and ugly dude and I'm not social, like at all. I also have a speech impediment. I do have a job now and a kind of stable life, but I feel like I'll never be able to find a partner. I still live with my parents because housing prices and living costs are absolutely ridiculous over here. I get up, work, get home, eat, sleep, and repeat. I hate how boring I am. Ugh, it is what it is. In my 27 years of life, I never had any relationships and never lived my youth how I would have liked it. Story 24. I hate seeing people say that they can find a partner because they're fat and ugly. It's probably more so the lack of self-esteem. People have different types of things they look for in a partner and find different things attractive. I've dated guys who are the typical good-looking, but I never dated those guys long. I really had good relationships with guys who most of my friends would be like, "What the heck do you see in him?" And I just don't find the same things as attractive as most people, I guess. I don't like skinny guys or muscular guys. I like chubby guys. Usually when a guy says they're ugly, I see someone who just needs a self-esteem boost. And maybe you see yourself as someone who can fix that. Story 25. Before anyone says this is a "because I'm a nice guy" post, it's not. Over the last few years, I've realized I'm single because many girls enjoy being extremely close to me emotionally, but never want to pursue anything romantic. And I tend to believe it's because of my appearance or physical traits. I'm never mad or angry at them for it because I'm grateful enough for their genuine friendship, but it does sadden me inside sometimes. Many times I've served as what I call the bridge for people, where I basically fill the role of their boyfriend while they're single. Sometimes when they're heartbroken post-breakup. Once they find someone they'll actually want to date, we remain friends, but they obviously reach out to me less, and we become less close. People around me think because I'm always around girls yet single, I'm very picky. But the reality is, I'd love to have a chance with many of them. However, they will never consider me in a romantic way. I'm sure there's guys out there who can relate. Well, have you tried making a move at least? Story 26. No one seems interested, and I can't be screwed bothering about it anymore, but get this, it gets worse. My paranoid mind is completely unfit for a relationship because every little change in attitude or body language can tip my scales and make me think the person hates me. And despite my extroverted exterior, I always think people don't really care about me and just want something from me. I even sometimes do this stuff with my best friends where I just go radio silent for a few days, simply because I think they hate me now. Story 27. Not doing well mentally at the moment, and I don't want to make that someone else's problem. I'm on summer break right now for uni classes, and I'm not sure about having a relationship go long distance in the fall when I start classes again. I heavily dislike dating apps. I prefer just to meet people in person, whether that be a person in my classes or someone I keep running into and engaging with at certain events and locations. It's worked 2 times thus far. Things just didn't keep together in the end. Still friends with those exes. It's hard to find people my age that don't need intimacy in a relationship. I'm gray sexual, meaning I'm okay with having intimacy, but I'd rather find someone who's more ace like me. Story 28. 33 years old, living in a rural area. Almost every potential partner is a single mom. Don't mind single moms, but the drama that can come in the form of baby daddies, unprocessed failed relationships, and regular motherhood stress is a little overwhelming to me, especially when paired with me being in school and the single mom scheduling can be a huge barrier. Alternatively, the less restricted people are too young or too old for my mentality and hobbies. Then filter out shared interests, physical attraction, and chance of meeting, and the numbers are getting very slim. I use online dating constantly, but very few profiles and no luck. Add in that all my friends are coupled off and my schoolmates are all in relationships or much younger. I just stick around at home mostly. Relax on the weekends in my garden, drink some beer, and hit the gym. Story 29. I've gone through 2 bad ex-relationships, and it took me a long time to understand the effects of being cheated on as well as physical cruelty. Just as a guy, I gotta say, until now, I'm like early 30s, I really didn't care to try and understand my trauma or whatever the proper way to describe it is, but the point is, I fell off. I've been taking the time to learn to love myself and stuff like that again, especially since the lockdown and focusing on my goals in life. I'm 31, so it's not that I ain't interested in settling down, but it's also hard to put yourself out there. It's a whole new world when it comes to basic communication and respect. I live in a city on the West Coast that is notorious, and I mean bad, for having rude and cynical people, and I gotta say, after being here most of my life, it's kinda true. But that doesn't mean I won't find someone one day, or someone might come along and be interested in me. Again, at the end of the day, we have to put ourselves first. Our mental health and emotional well-being is a priority, and the mind can't be replaced. Cars, dating, a house, kids, an apartment, a pet, etc. None of that compares to being sound and being on with yourself. And I'm still learning to be okay with who I am. Maybe once I've found that, other things will fall into place. In the meantime, being single and just having a cat is A-okay. That is why I'm single. Doesn't mean I'm opposed to dates or flirting, etc., but I'm single because I'm here for me first, and that's okay. And that's okay. Story 30. Got my heart broken by the same guy who told me I was the man he needed while he proceeded to lead me on the entire time to just tell me in the end he couldn't give me a relationship because he thought he would ruin me after I fell completely in love with him. After a 2-hour phone call telling him I loved him and all of him and he wouldn't ruin me, trying to tell him that me and him were meant to be, and he told me I needed someone better than him, and in my mind, there truly is no one better than him. I'm legit crying in my car typing this. He was perfect in my mind, and he still is. He just won't let me love him, and I can't make him, so I have to let go and move on. I'm single because I can never love like this again, and I don't think I can ever open my heart again. Hurts too much. I've been there, and I've said those exact same things, but to be honest, you'll move on, and you'll be able to find someone. Trust. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button for more videos like this. Story 31. Fear of commitment because I'm 14 and irrationally think that getting in a relationship means that I can only date that one person forever, and then when they do something that annoys me, I contemplate it a lot, thinking what if I'm always going to be with them even though they annoy me? They're nice people and I like them, but I can only do an hour or 2 with them and then need to recharge. Whereas with my other friends, I can hang out for 6 hours or more. Maybe revisit that thought after 5 years or so. Story 32. I'm tired of people. Having a girlfriend has been nothing but work. I come home from working all day to go work at home. Maybe other people's relationships have felt different, but all I feel in a relationship is stress and tiredness. I can do what I want, when I want, how I want, without second guessing if what I do will impact my significant other. Do I miss being in a committed relationship? Yes, I do miss it, but the cons for me heavily outweigh the positives, so I remain alone so that I'm free. Story 33. Just terrible luck dating. I got married at a young age, then got divorced, and dated someone who took me for granted, and the two people I dated after mistreated me in many ways. I love being in love, but I've been so naive as well and got played and used by these men. Many people think I'm a catch, and I think I am too. Work out, work hard, love hard. Last guy I went out with was decent, but he moved away. I'm just really tired at this point, and I'm only 24. At this point, I just want to feel safe and respected, but I think no one is up for that. Story 34. Right now, I just can't find the will to go out in my free time, and especially where I live, the crowd is a little more southern. As a computer nerd and one that works remotely and has hobbies in fantasy, sci-fi, digital art, and gaming, I just can't find any place with people that have similar interests. I've tried online dating to reach out to nearby cities for years on and off, but it's honestly the worst way to meet people, and half of them put zero effort to get to know anyone or just catfish and waste my time and money. I'm currently on a break after my last date. I drove 2 hours away for something that never showed up after talking for over a month. I've just come to terms with being happy by myself, despite desperately wanting to meet someone I can grow a family and enjoy life with. Story 35. I was so burnt out after my ex and I separated in January 2020. I'm only just getting sick of being alone. I'm a recovering codependent. I select smart partners with zero executive dysfunction and then just support them with constant crap they didn't ask for. And I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to repeat my patterns. I think I have the potential to be a very awesome partner to someone in the future, but I will not bother if they're not similarly fabulous, which is harder to find in your late 30s as a woman. Story 36. A number of reasons, actually. A lot of bad experiences in high school tainted my views on romance, and revelations of my dad cheating on my mother and lying about it for 7 years, resulting in a half-sister, didn't help matters. I've never had an experience of mutual attraction to anyone. It's either been a case of me liking them or them liking me. Never both. Social anxiety hampers my ability to talk to anyone, let alone a significant other. When we were all in lockdown, that was even more of a blow. Once I broke out of teenage years, finding a girlfriend became less of a focus. Most of my 20s was spent finding a passion. In my case, 3D animation. Well, show us your stuff, man. Story 37. After breaking up with my first girlfriend a couple of weeks ago, I don't feel like trying to engage in a relationship for the time being. My line of thought after the break was, damn, I need to better myself in order to be a better person. Since then, I started to learn a lot of new skills. Study or work hard and in general become a more active person. Even if I found the perfect person for me at this exact moment, I don't know if I would jump into a relationship. Not starting things slow is what caused me to date my ex. One of the biggest mistakes of my life. Story 38. Going on year 4 of unrequited love. I tell myself I haven't found the right person, but I think anyone could be the right person if I let them be. When you look at it, the right person isn't the most perfect person you know. Rather, they're the least perfect. Loving someone is as simple as making a choice. Do you want to love them? If you do, you'll open your heart and mind to it. If not, well, I don't want anyone else, even if I can't really imagine being with whom I love. I feel like there's a reason I haven't been able to lose hope even after how depressed it's made me. He has a boyfriend already, too. Am I dumb to hold on to a connection like this? Story 39. Multiple reasons, but I've been single for over a decade. Following reasons in no particular order. Single mom raising a teenage son who's heavily into sports and working on his football career. Run a small business and work all the time. I take care of my aging parents. They're still mobile, but need help navigating the ever-changing world. They tend to attract creepy dudes, really creepy, and I'm not creepy in any way or want to be around that mess. I've been single for so long, it's great being independent and free. Do I miss being in the arms of one I love? Yes. But the freedom to date me, buy what I want, when I want, and spoil myself on instead of waiting for someone else to do it is amazing. Story 40. Relationships are exhausting and depressing. And when you're asexual, it's pretty much something you have to be upfront about or your partners will get very, usually relationship-endingly, mad at you down the line. But fronting that you're ace feels like coming out in a backwoods bar. Suddenly everyone thinks they've got the magic touch to convert you. Also, I've yet to date someone who wasn't painfully high maintenance emotionally, and I'm not great at handling my own emotions. Asking me to also manage someone else's just sounds like it usually ends up being some form of suffering. Story 41. Being single the last 6 years. 6 years ago, my kids' mom started to do substances and neglect the kids. They were separated but never married. She would leave them at school until like 5 on some days, and I work far away, so I couldn't get them. I would take the kids on the weekends, and one Sunday I went to drop them off, but there were ambulances and police at her house. Apparently, she had tried to harm herself. I took the kids back with me to the house, and although I would have never sent them back to her, she never made an attempt to get or see them for a few years. We've seen her exactly 4 times in 5 years, and every time the police have to be called because she's more and more gone from substance use and causes a scene. Long story short, I'm single because I feel like I owe it to the kids to focus on them after being neglected for so long. I had no idea how bad it was and wanted them to know they're loved and also someone's top priority. I'll have time to mess around later. I'm 37 and they're 16 and 17 now. Sorry for the long story. Story 42. Dating is so different than it used to be. I've done online dating. I met people in real life. I've even had some legit meet cutes, but something I noticed that happens regardless is the projecting. Granted, I have plenty of my own issues to get in the way, but everyone is walking around projecting. Sometimes it's forcing attributes and characteristics on you that they want, and then sometimes it's seeing or looking for negatives that aren't there. The way that we connect to one another has changed so much in such a short time, I feel like we're trying to catch up to it. But it's like the dog chasing the proverbial rabbit, always just out of reach. Plus, I refuse to settle. It never ceases to amaze me how many people get married just because the concept is valued so highly and then have absolutely nothing nice to say about their spouse whom they suddenly realize they don't know because they never valued the individual. Drives me bananas. Story 43. 25-year-old male here. In my opinion, a girlfriend would require too much time or energy or money. 3 things I'm really investing into myself and my future. The gym, investing, just launched a private real estate business, and my normal career, consulting, are all the things I like spending my time on. I can't avoid seeing a date as a loss because of the time spent and the money most likely wasted on someone just using me for a free meal. I know not all women are bad, but I just don't trust them in that regard. Too many horror stories I see of cheating, divorce, meal tickets, etc. We live in an age now where all she has to do is open her DMs and the next man is there in line for her pick of the litter. I'm glad some people can make it work, my parents, for example, but I've almost come to terms that I just don't think it's in the cards for me. I do well when I go out for a night at the bar or club. More bars these days, but for those same reasons listed, I've become a fairly cold individual and I have no problem detaching all emotion from the one-night encounter and just moving on. Story 44. I've made a few mistakes in the past and was the toxic ex-boyfriend. After my last one, I took a walk and thought about it. It's easy to blame the other person, but though she wasn't perfect, I realized how terrible I had been to her and my other exes. So I haven't dated for a few years now. Until I have worked through my issues and gotten to the headspace I want to be in. 2 years of self-reflection, therapy, and anger management have brought me a long way, but I still don't feel ready to be with anyone yet. That's the first reason. The second reason is that I was almost married at one point and screwed that relationship up too. No one has measured up to her yet, so I wait and continue to work on myself. Story 45. The girls I'm attracted to are usually taken. The ones that like me are not attractive to me. I don't settle for them. Every girl I've dated seriously, I've been crazy attracted to and won't come down from there. When I do see a girl I'm attracted to, if she's not taken, I hate the talking stages. Making her laugh, good morning texts, talking about her feelings, telling her all sorts of stuff. You meet her friends, they judge the crap out of you. You meet her family, they judge the crap out of you. And their opinions can sway her, depending. You go out to see her often as possible. That's exhausting, man. I wish it was more simple. Story 46. I'm 26. I spent many years worrying about a man who I thought loved me. He just kept me around for good company, I believe, though he claimed not. We had one final spat and it finally clicked for me. Why on earth would I want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with me or who only acts like it sometimes? Another thing, I really don't want to have to take care or worry about someone else's needs right now. I spent too long doing that. It's time to take care of myself now. It's time for me to love me. And it's time for me to learn to enjoy my own company. Women have been programmed to think they aren't valuable unless they have a significant other. I say screw that. I'm valuable and I have a purpose in this world regardless of if I'm married or in a relationship. True that, sister. Story 47. An old schoolmate reached out. Wanted to settle down with me. They were casually chatting over the years, once or twice a year, and kept in touch for 10 years. Always had a crush on him, so I accepted. For 2 months it was great, but it might have been too much for him. He wanted to end it, and when I asked why, he basically used the "it's not you, it's me," and then ghosted me. Been 3 years, but I don't think I can get my head around how much I repulse other people. But no, I don't want to be with someone just to be rejected again. It's fine. Don't let one schmuck color the rest of your life. Maybe he's holding you back from the person you will actually enjoy being with. Story 48. I called off my wedding to the woman I had been with for 4 years because the constant drama between my family and hers, the lack of communication from everyone involved with me being made into the messenger for everyone, the blatant lack of respect for my opinions and wants, and the fact she couldn't stick to a budget with the original being 10K. Then her parents raised it to 15K, and ultimately the wedding began to approach over 30K and showed signs of going even higher before the wedding in 2 months. Ultimately, I had my parents telling me one thing, her parents telling me something else, and her telling me what she called the truth. Barely fit anywhere between the other two. And with everyone's opinions bouncing around, mine was lost, stamped into the dirt and ignored. I lost track of who to believe, lost track of myself and who I was, and she lost track of our relationship as she put more effort in the wedding of her dreams and desires than the actual marriage we were entering into. Towards the end, not a day went by where I wasn't angry or bitter towards everyone, disappointed in myself for dreaming of just ending myself to escape the cluster crap I felt I had entered into. I wanted to call it off months ago, but kept holding off because I was afraid to disappoint everyone involved and afraid to lose friends. And I was finally coming to their crossroads where I felt I had two options: push through or walk away for good. So I finally called it off. I don't hate my ex or her family, but I know to them I'm the bad guy in their story, and that's fine. I don't care anymore. I'm getting therapy to help me deal with the last 2 years, and some other issues that were brought to the forefront with all the wedding drama that occurred, and I hope to become a better person. That's why I'm newly single. Man, that is a lot. Story 49. Went into 2 relationships. First one was a mistake because the witch was crazy. Second one started great. We both had a crush on each other for a few years and didn't have the guts to confess until near the end of our high school years. Things went smoothly until the lockdown started. After almost a year of not seeing each other, I started to realize that I prefer my time being alone rather than spending it with someone else. Then, after breaking up with her, we agreed that it was for the best for both of us. I realized slowly that I dated those two purely out of curiosity, not true love. At that point, I wondered to myself, will I ever actually feel love? How will I know that it's not just my curiosity wanting to know more again? And it's here where I decided that I'm better off alone than to do this thing again and hurt someone else. And I actually do prefer being alone. Story 50. Currently, it is because my girlfriend is leaving the country to go back to her family and just sort of escape the negativity of American life. But in the greater sense, I guess it's just I never met the right girl. I've had multiple 2 to 5 year relationships. They just never seem to grow into what they should be to flip the switch into permanence. Usually my partner isn't quite right, so it just goes on until she wants more than I'm prepared to give, and then it dissolves in a flurry of, why don't we live together by now? Or why aren't we married by now? Why haven't we talked about kids by now? This isn't going anywhere, is it? That's not all the other person, obviously, but if it is their choice, then it usually ends fairly quickly. We'll hold on to comfortable but not quite right indefinitely. Story 51. 24, male. My heart has been only broken a few times, but it felt like it was with a sledgehammer. I got fed up and figured out that love just isn't for me. Over the last couple of years, I've really done a lot of self-exploration. Also, with a therapist, I figured out I just need my alone time. I function better alone. I've got hobbies and things to do, and I really only go out socializing when I feel the energy to do so, which my friends and family thankfully respect. So yeah, living with anybody isn't for me as I'm extremely introverted and a couch potato. Right now, I periodically do some odd jobs, walk my dog in the forest, and we go hiking and exploring. I'm going to finish university soon and get a better apartment for me and my furry son. At this point, where my life is looking up, I don't feel I want romance in it. I'm just very content right now. And I'm happy for you, man. Story 52. Split from the mother of my kids 15 years ago. Lost everything except the debt. Started another relationship about 13 years ago, but it was starting to affect the relationship with my kids. Another family, divided attention, etc. So we broke up after a couple of years, and I realized that spending as much time with my kids was more important than a relationship for me. I'm pretty self-sufficient and happy, alone. My eldest is now in uni, and my youngest plays a senior-level competitive sport, so we're both thriving. And we still see each other 2 to 3 times a week, every week still. So it's paid off. Once my youngest is 18, I might think about it again. I would like to have someone to share things with, but living alone while renting a big enough place for my girls to stay and paying child support, at least only for one now, is expensive, and I can't afford to go out and mingle anyway. So it's a choice. But also not being a property owner and no disposable income due to the above doesn't make me that attractive to women in my age group. Story 53. I don't really ever go out to meet people. Pretty much my only female friend that I have regular contact with is the one woman I successfully asked out, and she turned out to be a lesbian. Trying my luck with dating apps, but apparently I'm only really attractive to gay men despite being very much straight passing. Literally no one ever seriously assumed that I even might be bi or gay. Problem is, I'm mostly attracted to women and only really looking for men, or everyone takes at the one-off chance to find a unicorn. I'm honestly not even sure what, if anything, I'm doing wrong to be so disproportionately unpopular with women. I'm over 30 guys for a single woman in terms of likes I receive. Story 54. Honestly, I think I have super unrealistic standards. Due to reading. Nobody asks me out. I always stay at home. But the main reason is I feel like a partner would be a holderback. I see it in this moment of my life like it's something that would retain me from going further in life and realize my dream. For me, it's like a partner would be an obstacle for me to go further and dream big, because they would expect you to dream with them and look ahead from the same direction. And I just can't make those sacrifices for love. I don't know. Story 55. It's summer, which means I only hang out with the same 5 people or so. The problem is, despite living in a somewhat happening area, most people just seem to be reserved in their own circles and have zero to little interest in meeting new people unless they share a commonality like a job or school. And lucky me, I have no job. I haven't gone to the same school as 99.99% of the people my age since I was 13. And most of my local friends are useless for introducing me to people from town, so yeah, I'm just an island in my own hometown. That'll most definitely change, though, as I start my second year of college in a couple of months on campus, where even strangers come up to me interested at times. It's just a matter of finding a partner, I guess. Well, if you like these stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're gonna love this. Catch you in that video.